Louisiana Beer Reviews looks at Flensburger Gold, purchased at Martin Wine Cellar, Metairie, Louisiana. Now, $2.65 for this 11.2 ounce bottle. That was a little expensive, and I paid a lot of money on this last beer run, like a whole lot. Anyway, relative to what I normally pay. Now it says October 1st, 2015. I guess that's when you're supposed to drink it by, but it's past that date. But I had not seen this beer when I went a few weeks before, so it was just had gotten on the shelf. I mean, it had just gotten on the shelf. Now, right, 4.8% alcohol. They don't really say much on the the brewery's website. They're basically just saying it's a nice gold beer. It's you'll like it. Supposedly, it's a export beer, Dortmunder style, similar to this American-made Heileman's Special Export. Okay. And I believe that one has a little more alcohol than 4.8%, but you can't get much information from Heileman's Special Export from their website. Pabst is the parent company. This is brewed according to the Reinheitsgebot of 1516. Flensburger Brewery in Flensburg, Germany. Alright, I've had a few of their other beers and I really like them. I had the regular lager. They make a whole bunch of stuff. Flensburg is in northern Germany, near Denmark. I had this one in the freezer too long. I actually forgot it in there. Also, Flensburg, there's a lot of interesting facts about that city, I'm sure, but one interesting thing is that it was the site of the, after Germany surrendered to the Allies in May of 1945, May 7th. The National Socialist Party and government continued to operate under their the German President Donitz for about 2 weeks in Flensburg, and they even had meetings there. They didn't have much to talk about because it wasn't much for them to do, considering that the country was occupied by the Allies. But they even had the National Socialist flag flying outside the office where they met. You know, the red flag with the black National Socialist emblem on it. So it's kind of ironic. And then the Allies seemed like the Western Allies were going to just say, all right, that's the government of Germany, we'll tell them what to do. And then the Russians, the Soviets got angry and said, how dare you have those guys, that Donitz gang out there with that flag flying. And they made such a big issue about it that the Allies said, oh, all right. And then after about 2 weeks, they shut it down and arrested those guys. Some of them even got the death penalty, some life in prison, although most were let out after a little while. All right, it's going to come out eventually. Well, let's see what we got. I think the head would be a lot thicker if it was a proper pour without the, the chunk of ice in it. But it's going to be white, and the appearance is golden. Makes sense, it's gold. It's a little hazy, I guess, from the chill, but it might be a little hazy anyway. I don't know how ultra filtered this beer is. It's quite bubbly. Now, if there's sediment, that wouldn't be caused by the extreme cold. That would just be caused by the lack of filtration. And yeah, I am definitely picking up little white particles floating about. Definitely. Alright, sorry about that. I could have waited, but I wanted to get the review done because I wanted to get some other things going. It does smell a little aged, but it's a Euro lager. You get that syrupy barley malt. It's really syrupy, and it's common. If you drank Golden Pheasant or some other German beers, it would be common. It's pungent, it's biscuity. The hops are a little grassy, I guess you'd say. This beer gets a good score on Beer Advocate, but it only gets a 9 out of 100 on Rate Beer, but then a 79 out of 100 for the style. Once again, as I tell you, they don't like the style, Euro Lager, okay, or the export variant. So the beer itself might be very high quality. They just are saying, I don't like the style. Which can, yeah, it'll melt. Which can skew your, now this is going to be a little more concentrated because of the ice at the bottom. So this is like an ice beer version. Yeah. You know, it's strong barley malt, okay? And the hops are very low. I would think the IBUs on this must be very low. The mouthfeel is medium. It does have body to it, that's for sure. I think I remember that with the other lager. And the finish is crisp, refreshing, and it's quite enjoyable here on a very hot, humid day. Not very hot, but pretty hot, humid day. It's very humid. I'm sure if you go to Germany and buy this, it's a lot cheaper than $2.65 a bottle, but if I don't buy it, I can't try it. So how would I rate it? I'm going to say it's an A-. I'm going to say it's at the lower end of excellent. It really is enjoyable. Is it better than the special export? Well, it's quite different because this one I know is almost certainly made with a corn adjunct. Although this is probably one of the better Pabst beers you could get your hands on if you happen to ever see it. Last time I was in the Chicago area, I couldn't find it, can or bottle, but I know they make a special export light. That's an interesting story there. That beer was created for a company picnic, in fact. This company's been doing it right apparently since 1888, so laissez le bon temps rouler. Don't put it in the freezer as long as I did. But factoring that little problem out, it's still a delicious beer, so y'all come on down to New Orleans!